Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Majid Hameed for Muslim Reads, or This Muslim Reads. I'd like to welcome you all to my first presentation of the first book that I read for this group, and I hope everybody enjoys it and benefits from this and is encouraged to read the book further after my presentation. So I'd like to start off by going to the introduction. Well, the book I read was first published in 1937, called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And it was written to be used as a textbook for his courses in effective speaking and human relations, and was constantly revised till Dale Carnegie's death in 1955. So let me explain the structure of the book. He's organized it as follows. He's set the 3 principles of the fundamental techniques of handling people. Then he's listed the 6 principles on 6 principles or ways to make people like you. Then he lists 12 principles of how to win people to your way of thinking. And finally, 9 principles of how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. Now, I will be highlighting 3 of the most important principles I found that influenced me from reading this book. And hopefully you'll find it of benefit as well. So the first most important principle I learned from this book was from the Fundamental Techniques of Handling People, principle number 3, which is referred to as arouse in the other person an eager want. So what this is when we have a good idea, instead of making others think it is ours, let them cook and stir the idea themselves. They will consider it their own and like it. So an example of this is, I suggested, instead of suggesting a website, for example, it's really really useful tool that you all might benefit from. It's called X marks, right? And X marks is a really cool tool. I find that I'm able to synchronize all my bookmarks from every single type of browser on every single computer. So if I ever lose the computer or I lose my bookmarks randomly or delete a bookmark, Xmarks backs everything up, and you can refer back to it on a web page, and you can share those bookmarks with your friends or a portion of those bookmarks with your friends and family. And basically, by doing this, by explaining the benefit, I was hoping that it might stir the want in that individual, instead of just saying, go get X marks. It's really useful. So what I'm trying to do here is stir the eagerness to want it. So that was the first principle that I found important to me. The second most important principle that I found that was important to me was from the 6 principles of how to make people like you. Principle number 4, which is be a good listener. So this basically means you should encourage others to talk about themselves, to talk well, and be an attentive listener. So for you to talk well, you should be an attentive listener first. Ask questions others will enjoy answering, and encourage them to talk about their accomplishments. So I did this at work the other day. I usually, talk about what benefits me, and what excites me. And I learned that nobody really cares about my life. But if you want people to like you, number one thing you do is you ask people about their life and how they're doing. And, you listen. So you ask questions that they'll enjoy answering. So something that they'll enjoy. If they don't want to talk about their life, ask them about something that you know will interest them. If it's sports, ask them how their sports are. So at work, I have a coworker. She's a she's a female, and obviously, not obviously, but commonly, she likes to describe her feelings, how she's feeling today. So I ask her how she's feeling today, and elaborate further on, if she's not feeling well, is it because of a cold? Has she taken her medication? Does she need anything? Even trying to suggest that you want to help them out really does make them feel good. So the start of my workday went really well because I was listening attentively, asking questions that they enjoyed, right? And also, encouraging my coworker to talk about what they've achieved, you know, um, the day before with their children or whatever, and make them feel really good about themselves. So that's the principle that I found very important. The final important principle that I found was the third most important principle that I found among all these principles in the book. The third most important principle to me was from the section of ways to win people to your way of thinking. Principle number 7, let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. Now, this is very similar to the first principle that was important to me, arouse the other person eager want. And I'll explain this further, how it links. So in this principle, you make suggestions and let the other person think out the conclusions. So you don't just tell somebody X marks is good. You make suggestions. There's a lot of bookmarks out there. Is there any that you know of that would be useful, right? And you kind of lead the conversation and hope that the person suggests ideas that may not be as good as the one you have. But at least they kind of conclude that the ones that they suggested are not maybe as good as the one that you suggested. But you have to let them express themselves. Um, they will have more faith in the ideas they discover for themselves rather than ideas handed to them on a silver platter. So consult about their wishes, wants, and thoughts. Right? So what do they need from a bookmark service? What do they want? And what are their thoughts? What would they like to have in a bookmark service? And if it kind of coincides with X marks what I want to suggest, then you can suggest X marks as a bookmark service after they've expressed what they need out of a bookmark service. So it's kind of similar to what I experienced based on my first important principle, which is arousing the other person and your want. And just, because I love you all so much, the next, I wanted a bonus, fourth important principle to me in this book, which I pulled from How to Change, section called How to Change People Without Giving Offense or Arousing Resentment, which is principle number 4. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Again, it's kind of similar to the other two principles I was just referring to. What this means is uh, saying things like, "You might consider this," or "Do you think that would work?" Let me say that again. Questions like, "You might consider this," or "Do you think that would work?" instead of "Do this" or "Do that." An order may cause a lasting resentment, but asking questions often stimulates the creativity of those being questioned. People are more likely to accept that decision if they have a part to play in the decision that caused that order. So again, if again, suggesting an application rather than saying you must use this is the best application for you. Suggest that would this work for you, or maybe you should consider this application. Right? Be very gentle when suggesting instead of ordering people to do something. So in conclusion, I'd like to say get the book and learn from Dale Carnegie's examples mentioned in his book to understand the principles better and implement each principle in your life And please give us your feedback if this book has changed your life. As a note, please subscribe and share the video. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, to purchase the book, please click on the link in the description below the video. Jazakallah khair. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum.